Well, today we are looking at variance and standard deviation. So this lesson will help us to compute variance in both arithmetic, frequency, which is discrete data, and group data. So let's start with given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to find the variance. What we need to do is that let's represent the numbers by x. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Let's sum it. So sum of x will give us 15. Then because we are asked to find variance or standard deviation, we now get to the next column, which is s squared. So here is s. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, then 5 squared is 25. So we make a table that way to find our x and s squared. So whenever we are given to find variance or standard deviation, we square the max or we square the items given. This is just arithmetic form of it. Then the next stage is find sigma s squared. So let's sum it. So to be 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16 plus 25. So when we add 1 plus this to be 5 plus that, we get 55. Now our variance is sigma s squared over n minus sigma x over n square. What it means is that sum of all the square of the x over the number of items, n represents the number of items available, minus the mean square. So sigma s over n is the mean. So variance will be 55 over, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items over 5 minus sigma s, which is 15 over 5 square. So the variance will now be 11. 55 and 5 is 11, 3 square. So the variance will be 11 minus 9, which is equal to 2. So now standard deviation. To find standard deviation, find square roots of the variance. And variance is 2, so find square root of 2 give us standard deviation. So therefore root of 2 will give us 1.4114 to be our standard deviation. So therefore when you are given variance, you find square root of it, you get standard deviation. If you are given standard deviation, you square it, you get the variance. So when we have arithmetic, always square the items or the x. You sum the items, then sum the squares. Then use this formula, which is sigma s square n. Sigma s square over n minus sigma s over n square. So all these data, the arithmetic, they are called discrete data. So we are now going to look at frequency table. So when you have a discrete data in a frequency table, what are we going to do to find the variance and standard deviation? Let's say we have max, which is x. Then we have frequency. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have our frequencies are 2, 3, 1, 4, 2. These are our frequencies. So what we need to do for the variance is to find fs. Good. So after finding fs, then find s square, which is the mass square. And the next stage is to find fs square. So let's compute all the available data for the table. So what we do is that fs means frequency times the max. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, 4, 4 is 16, 5 times 2 is 10. Then we find our sigma f here. Then our sigma fs. Also find our sigma fx here. So we do that. Then we also need sigma fs square. So let's do that. So we come to s square, meaning the mass square. 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25. Now the frequency times the x square is not this f square. This is not fs square. It is not fs square or square. It is f times s square. F times s square. So the s square you have here multiplied by the f. So 1 times 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Then 1 times 9 is 9. 4 times 16. Let's see, 4 times 16 give us 64. Then 2 times 25 is 50. So let's compute the totals. Our sigma f is 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2. We got 12. Then our sigma f 2 is 2 plus 6 plus 3 plus 16 plus 10. That went to, we got 37. Then our sigma fs square will be 2 plus 12 plus 64. Let's say 2 plus 12 plus 9 plus 64 plus 50. Give us 137. 137. So therefore, our variance is equal to sigma fs square over sigma f minus sigma f over sigma fs over sigma f all square. So let's now input in the data. So sigma fs square is 137. So you write here 137. Sigma f is 37. You write here 37. Minus sigma fs is 37. Then sigma f is 12. So note sigma f is 12 rather. So here 12, not 37. It's not 37. Sigma f is 12, not 37. So take note. So here sigma f is 12. But this one is all square. Sigma fs over sigma f all square. So we come here, the point calculator 137 divided by 12 got 11.417 minus 37 divided by 12. We get 3.08 square, like this. So we're going to get 11.417 minus 3.08 square will give us 9.486. So when you subtract 11.417 minus 9.486, we are going to get 1.931 as the variance. Now standard deviation is root of variance, so to the root of 1.931, which will be root of 1.931 to give us 1.38 maybe 397, so approximately 1.4. So that's one will give us the discrete interfrequency table, how to find variance and standard deviation. Okay, so now let's start with group data. Suppose we have max here 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29. Then we have frequency 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1 as our frequencies, and we have to find variance and standard deviation. So we need we need midpoint. Good. First is midpoint, that will represent the x. So let's find the midpoint here, but let's do the table wall so that we will not miss the numbers. So first point under group data is to find our midpoint. So we add these two divided by 2. So here will be 2, 7 was 14 over 2, 22 over 2 to be 12, and here will be 17, then here will be 22, then 27. Good. Then have we put in fs like we are finding in fs. So fs means frequency times the midpoint, which now is the x. Frequency times the midpoint. So 5 times 2 is 20, is 10, rather 5 times 2 is 10. Then 4 times 7 is 28, 1 times 12 is 12, 2 times 7 is 34, 3 times 22 is 66, 1 times 27 is 27. So let's find our sigma f, our sigma fx. Good, compute that. Then we come here, we have s square. That to be, we are moving towards variance. That's why we said s square. S square, so the midpoint square. 2 square is 4, 7 square is 49, 12 square is 144. Therefore 17 square is 289. 22 square is 484. Then 27 square is 729. Now we come here, f times s square. So the frequency times times the s squared that we have obtained, the frequency times the s squared we have obtained. So we start 5 times 4, frequency is 5, fs squared is this, s squared is 4, so it's 20. 4 times 49, so 4 times 49 give us 196. Good. Then 1 times 144 is 144. 3 times 2 times 2, 8, 9. Give us 5, 7, 8. Then 3 times 4, 8, 4. 3 times 4, 8, 4. Give us 1,452. Then 1 times 7 to 9, 7 to 9. So we get our sigma f x squared. So let's add the totals. Our sigma f here, we're adding this to 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1. So our sigma f is 16. Then our sigma fs, when you add all fs to 10 plus 28 plus 12 plus 34 plus 66 plus 27, which will give us 177. Then sigma fs squared, we add it, we have 20 plus 196 plus 144 plus 578 plus 1,452 plus 729. So we get 3,119. So we can now start our variance. Will be sigma fx squared over sigma f minus sigma fx over sigma f squared. So our variance, let's see, put in 3119 over 16 minus sigma fs is 177 over 16 square. So if we now take a calculator and put 3119 divided by 16, then we get 194.94 minus 177 divided by 16 is equal to 11.06 square. So let's square it. Get, so it will be 194.94 minus 11.06 square is 122.38. So let's take away 194.94 minus 122.38 is equal to 72.56. So that is the variance. Now standard deviation is equal to root of variance. So standard deviation is equal to root of 72.56. So standard deviation is equal to, so square root of 72.56 will give us 8.518. Good. So that is variance and standard deviation. We should keep on practicing. So we have established that to find variance, we need to square x. So, but for you to do that, represent the numbers by x. Then you sum all the items as x. So therefore the variance will be sigma s squared over n minus sigma x over n squared. But when it is frequency table, when we have your max frequency, you find fs, then you find s squared, then you also find fs squared, then your summation will be sigma fs, then sigma fs squared. So therefore your variance will be sigma fs squared over sigma f minus sigma f x over sigma f all squared. For this represent the discrete data. For group data, you find midpoint, which will now be the x, and to follow the same trend as this. So thank you. Subscribe to the channel and promote it, share it for people to also watch, so that we can help each other in solving the maths together. Thank you.